What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day today. It's time for Rumor Wave, so let's jump into all the rumors around the internet right now. I just want to start this video by saying most of these, probably all of these actually, is one I'll talk to you about, is rumored. Nothing is confirmed right now, so we're going to start with that, and let's get into it. Bethesda may have actually leaked the new Vega GPU coming up, the RX 490, and this was on their site where they were talking about Fallout 4, the big high-resolution texture pack for the PC coming out, and they briefly went down the system requirements and mentioned the RX 490, which is not a card in existence right now. It's a card we were expecting to be announced at some point. We almost thought they would maybe go up to the 5 series cards. There's a chance, though, the 490 may have been a typo on their part for Fallout 4. There's also a chance that they know about it and they didn't realize they weren't supposed to put that up yet. It has already been taken down. Fortunately, a lot of people screen capped it, so it's actually, you'll see it here. And it does show that it will have 8 gigs of some type of video RAM, whether that's the newer GDDR5 HBM memory or any other type. It's hard to say, but right now at least has 8 gigs of RAM, which is needed for 4K textures at this rate, especially with this high resolution texture pack. We're still waiting for a word from AMD. However, they are kind of tight-lipped on it, but they have talked about Vega being a thing very soon. I would expect it, if it's not announced the next month or so, I'd expect it before E3. And right now, the most popular rumor on the internet is about Fallout. So we'll stick with Fallout right now and go into this new rumor for Fallout New Vegas 2. Now, this comes courtesy of a website called fraghero.com, and what they are talking about is that Fallout New Vegas 2 is set to be announced at E3 this year. Now, they've talked about their source being credible because they called things like Red Dead Redemption 2, despite a lot of mockery in the video game world. Of course, Red Dead Redemption 2 gets announced later on. They also talk about their source calling Last of Us 2 being talked about at the PlayStation Experience event. But going back to this New Vegas 2 announcement, or at least rumor of the announcement coming up, seems a little off. I don't think Fallout New Vegas 2 is a good title for it. I think they should do something a little different. Now, they have talked about Fallout New Orleans, although I believe that was a TV show that they trademarked it for. I don't think that was for the video game. However, I don't think a Fallout New Vegas 2 is a good title. Maybe come up with something a little different. I do know Fallout New Vegas has some type of notoriety with fans, but that seems a little lazy to me to do Fallout New Vegas 2. I don't know. Now, how credible is this leak? It's hard to say. They were correct about certain things, but sometimes it's easy to put a rumor out there, get a lot of exposure because of it, and use your old credible sources as a reliable means of trusting them. Either way, we won't know until E3. That's when they say the announcement's going to happen, so we'll keep an eye on it. Now, E3 is a good place to announce something like this. Fallout 4 has been out for a little while now, and I think we are up to that midway point where they would release another game using the same engine, such as like Fallout New Vegas used the same type of engine as the older Fallout games. So Fallout 4's engine would be used for whatever this new one is if it comes to be true, and we are at that point where they would probably announce it. And it looks like the Switch is going to need a lot more production, and Nintendo is looking to increase it. Now, it's no secret, obviously, the Switch is selling out everywhere. The US, Japan, Europe, all over the world, it seems to be selling out quickly, and Nintendo seems to be taking note of this. Now, I'm calling this a rumor in Rumor Wave because we took something from this guy before about the Switch, where it was going to have a 1440p screen, and that turned out to be very incorrect. So I am just putting this in here. There's a good chance that this is an actual thing. I just don't want to jump to the conclusion without hearing something directly from Nintendo. Of course, it's from Takashi Machizuki. He's talking about on Twitter, you'll see the tweet here, how Nintendo chief Kimishima said the firm plans to increase production of the Switch. Pre-order status so far good. And this is pretty obvious. Like I said before, the Switch pre-orders are going fast everywhere. Nintendo has, I think, a hit on its hands right now, and they do not want to mess that up. You need to produce, you need to ramp up production. It cannot be like the NES Classic. This is something that they are going to make a lot of money on if they keep producing it. I do see the Switch passing the Xbox One in sales, I think, in its first 3 years. To be honest, at this rate, if they can produce enough of them and send them out with the game lineup coming up, which, by the way, is over 100 games right now that people are keeping track of that are coming out on the Switch. So, yes, the exclusives are there, the games are there. They just need to make sure the systems are in stores. This next one comes from PAX South. It looks like, because they were doing hands-on with the Switch, all of the different Nintendo reps there were making mention that Snipper Clips will show up for launch. Now, of course, we still don't have any actual announcement about that as of this recording for Snipper Clips showing up at launch. However, it looks like when people were playing it at the different events, it did look to be finished, at least completed to the point where people could play most of the game, or at least during their demo, it kept going through and they were able to finish multiple levels with multiple people playing. And the game itself, while not as complex as, say, Xenoblade or Zelda, it looks like it is able to probably reach the launch window. Now, Nintendo, I will say Nintendo employees there do have conflicting things at times to say. For example, at the other press event, they were talking about how Zelda will make it to 1080p before launch, and there's been no word on that. In fact, most of the supporters or producers have come out and said it's going to be 900p. So don't always take the employees at these events as at their word that they know exactly what's happening, but I could see snipper clips showing up at launch. That one makes a lot of sense, actually. According to Daniel Ahmed on Twitter, Nintendo looks to have a better partnership than Nvidia than we originally thought. Now, Daniel tweets a lot about the video game industry in general. He is an analyst at Nyko Partners, so he does do a lot of analyzing for different video games and everything. And in this case, he started tweeting out that Nintendo's characters are going to start showing up on Nvidia's platforms. And by platforms, I mean their hardware, like Shield hardware, Android TV, their Shield handheld. You're going to start seeing different Nintendo games, specifically starting with Mario. And he's saying he's seeing things like Chinese news sites talking about how New Super Mario Bros. From 2006, for example, will show up on the Nvidia Shield and the Shield TV going forward. And it makes sense because I'm sure Nvidia probably asked for something like that. Now, it looks like it's going to be only a China release from what they're saying here, and it's even gone as far as to be approved in China, submitted by NCL. And you know what? It's probably not a big deal. I think it makes a lot of sense, again, for Nvidia to have some big name. That's what they've always been missing on their hardware. Their hardware has always been good with the Shield and the Shield TV. They've just always missed that, just that character or mascot that they can put on their system. If they can show up in China, which I'm sure Nintendo wants to show up there anyway, with a game that can probably be bought, so Nintendo will make out for it, Nvidia will make out for it because the hardware will be sold, the software will be sold, and you know, this is almost like what people have been wanting Nintendo to do for a while anyway, act as a third party as well as a first party, because on the phones it's worked out. Obviously, they've made money. I'm sure their Fire Emblem game will also make money, and they're not in China per se to the point where it will hurt them if they release this in China, because it doesn't look like it's leaving Chinese manufacturers or anything to come over to the United States in terms of like putting it on Nvidia Shield TVs in the US. And it is an older game, New Super Mario Bros. 2006. I do know Mario is obviously timeless. You can play it whenever you want. You can still play the one from 1985. It'll still hold up today. But again, it's just another way for Nintendo probably to expand their audience, jump into China on a platform like the Nvidia Shield TV, and just make more money. And this bit of news is the most interesting to me. I'm going to explain to you why. So, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, we know, did not do well. It came out as kind of a buggy mess. It was made fun of by most of the gaming community, dropped in price heavily after that, and we kind of were left with a where do we go from here with the skateboarding genre. And in a recent interview with Jenkem Magazine via Destructoid, Tony Hawk said that he is currently working on another skateboard game, but it's not with Activision right now. And in a quote from that interview, you see him here say, "Not from Activision, I'm potentially working on something, but it's so early, I couldn't talk about it. I don't have any contracts signed, but it's exciting. I feel like it's with the right people, so I should know more in the next couple months," he added. Interesting. How cool would it be? Let's just speculate here for a second. How cool would it be if Tony Hawk decided to go work with EA on Skate 4? I think that would be amazing. He talks about here how it's too early. We do know, or at least believe, that with the popularity of the Skate series and how much interest was shown when that Skate 4 tweet went out by a community manager, that EA has to have noticed that and said, wow, there is a hole to fill here in the video game genre of skateboarding. Why don't we go get the biggest name in skateboarding, which is still Tony Hawk, as much as maybe you like another skateboarder. Let's be real here, it's Tony Hawk. Let's go get Tony Hawk, bring him in, because it doesn't look like he signed much with Activision at all anymore. I'm sure he does it signed on like a video game basis, like as he makes a game, he signs with Activision, they make the game, and then they're finished. Let's go get Tony Hawk, let's bring him in, let's talk about making Skate 4 with him, and let's make it a reality. I think that is a great idea. Now, of course, we have no actual word that that's the case. I just think it makes sense. Both would be in super early development. I think Tony Hawk may have been put off a little bit by the Pro Skater 5 game coming out and being technically bad in terms of like technical aspects of being bug-free, but he wouldn't have his name on it probably unless it's like Skate 4 featuring Tony Hawk and then he's on the front of the cover. That's something I think that Skate has always missed, is that big mascot character. I know Skate tries to be more realistic. Tony Hawk games were kind of more like you're playing on the moon, so you can do like 50 million kickflips when you jump. But Skate and Tony Hawk seem to match together really well. I think Tony Hawk could bring in the names. I think Skate could bring in the more physics-based, realistic skateboarding. So it would be cool. It would be. I don't expect to hear anything soon. Maybe the contracts could be signed and they could have some kind of trailer ready for E3, but it makes a lot of sense, and I really do hope this happens. And that's it for Rumor Wave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Talk in the comments below about the different rumors, whether it be maybe you're looking at that Vega RX 490 and you're interested in that, or maybe you're interested in Nintendo upping production on the Switch, or maybe you're excited about Snipper Clips coming for launch, or maybe a State 4 with Tony Hawk possibilities. That'd be great. Let me know in the comments below, guys. I will see you next time.